The biggest news of the day, linebacker Robert Spillane is heading to the New England Patriots on a 3-year, $37 million deal. That's over $12 million per season. And I won't lie to you, this one stings. Spillane was a rock for this defense, a hard-hitting, reliable leader who wore the green dot and set the tone every game. He finally brought some much-needed stability to our linebacker group. And for $12 million a year, man, I would have loved to see him stay in Vegas. He's only 29 years old, still in his prime, and has plenty left in the tank. Now, I get it. Spillane isn't the best in pass coverage, and that might have made the Raiders hesitant to spend big. But let's be real. In today's NFL, if a linebacker can stop the run and cover well, he's getting $15 million or more. So, in my opinion, this was a tough loss. He was our leading tackler in 2024 and one of the best defensive players under Patrick Graham. Losing him leaves a huge hole in this defense. And to make matters worse, this year's free agent linebacker class isn't exactly stacked. Spillane was one of the best options available, so yeah, this one hurts. But what's next for the Raiders? Stick around because we've got plenty more to talk about. And the hits keep coming, Raider Nation. Another linebacker target, Trey Greenlaw from the 49ers, has signed with the Denver Broncos, so yeah, the Raiders are getting thin at the position. At this point, it looks like they'll have to address linebacker early in the draft. But man, I'm still not over losing Robert Spillane. And it doesn't stop there. Slot cornerback Nate Hobbs is also gone. He's heading to the Green Bay Packers on a 4-year, $48 million deal with $16 million guaranteed. Now let's talk about Hobbs. He's still young, only 25, and brought a physical, aggressive style to the secondary. He was solid against the run and gave the defense some much-needed versatility. But here's the problem: injuries. Hobbs has missed 17 games in 4 seasons. He just hasn't been able to stay on the field. And as much as I wanted to see him return, I get why the Raiders were hesitant. Your best ability is your availability, and at $12 million per season, that's a big investment for a guy with an injury history. Still, letting him walk is a blow. He was becoming one of the top slot corners in the league, and his physicality, especially in the run game, was huge for this defense. The Raiders will have to find a replacement fast, but options are drying up. Byron Murphy is staying with the Vikings. DJ Reed is already off the market. So unless the Raiders have real confidence in young corners like DeCameron Richardson or MJ Devonshire, they're going to need to make a move. And honestly, after watching those guys last season, I don't know how confident I'd be in them just yet. And the last big loss? Safety Trayvon Moehrig. He's heading to the Carolina Panthers on a 3-year, $51 million deal. Moehrig was a 2021 second-round pick and had his best season in 2024, setting career highs in tackles, tackles for loss, and passes defended. But I saw this one coming. There were reports that he could get anywhere between $15 to $20 million per year, and at that price, it made sense that the Raiders would let him walk. Now, I really like Moehrig. He's a solid player. But was he worth $17 million per year? That's the big question. So yeah, the Raiders have lost 3 key defensive players already, and the free agent market is moving fast. What's next? Stick around because there's still a lot to discuss. Let's be real. $17 million per year for Trayvon Moehrig? That's a massive overpay by the Carolina Panthers. Right now, Moehrig is the 4th highest paid safety in the entire league. And while I like him as a player, there's nothing about his game that screams elite to me. If you're paying top 5 money, you better be getting top 5 production. And I just don't see that with him. One big issue: turnovers. In 4 seasons, Moehrig has just 6 interceptions. If you're going to pay a safety that much, he needs to be a game changer, creating takeaways and shifting momentum. And let's not forget, safety is one of the least valuable positions on defense. Think about it. Safeties rely on everyone else. If the defensive line isn't creating pressure or the corners aren't holding their own, even the best safety is going to struggle. That's why overpaying for a safety rarely makes sense. Now, am I sad to see Moehrig go? Of course, but at the same time, I get it. The Raiders weren't going to match that price, and honestly, I don't blame them. Moehrig secured his bag, and good for him. But here's the good news. The Raiders did make some moves. First up, defensive tackle Adam Butler is back. He's coming off a career best season with 5 sacks and 10 QB hits, and the Raiders locked him in on a 3-year, $16.5 million deal with $10 million guaranteed. That's just over $5 million per year, a steal for a guy who adds real pass rushing value from the interior. And speaking of the pass rush, the Raiders also brought back edge rusher Malcolm Koonce. This one had me a little worried because SpotRack projected his market value at $20 million per year, which I thought was absolutely insane. But the Raiders got a great deal, a 1-year, $12 million prove-it contract. And honestly, I love it. Koonce has flashed real potential, and if he balls out this season, he'll have a shot at a big payday. If not, the Raiders aren't locked into a long-term deal. Smart move all around. This deal makes a lot of sense for both sides. The Raiders aren't locked into a long-term commitment, and Malcolm Koonce gets a chance to prove himself. It's a win-win. Koonce had a breakout season in 2023, racking up 8 sacks. We saw how dominant this defense looked when he and Max Crosby were both on the field. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that in 2024 as Koonce missed the entire season with a torn ACL. But here's the key. He's only 26. That means he still has huge upside. If he can regain his 2023 form, he'll be in line for a massive payday, especially after Myles Garrett and Max Crosby reset the edge rusher market. A 10-sack season could change everything. It would be huge for the Raiders, great for the defense, and would put Koonce in a position to cash in big next offseason. The Raiders are building in the trenches. They also need to find a way to bring back Trayvon Moehrig, but it's clear what their approach is this offseason. They're focusing on the trenches. And honestly, I love it. Building from the inside out is how you succeed in the NFL. If you fix the offensive and defensive lines, it impacts everything, from stopping the run, to rushing the passer, to giving your quarterback time to throw. Another solid move, signing Jeremy Chinn. The Raiders added another piece to the defense, signing safety Jeremy Chinn from the Washington Commanders on a 2-year, $16 million deal. Chinn is only 27 and brings versatility to the secondary. Just look at his 2024 season. 412 snaps in the box, 299 snaps at free safety, 202 snaps in the slot, 117 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 interception, 5 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. He's a hard hitter who can play multiple roles, and the Raiders got him at a reasonable price. Another smart move for a defense that's clearly prioritizing impact players. You could argue that Trayvon Moehrig was the better safety, but in terms of value, this move makes a lot of sense for the Raiders. Plus, let's not forget, the team already has some young, promising safeties. Isaiah Pola-Mao was re-signed. Trayvon Taylor has shown a lot of upside from his college film and is still very young. So I don't mind this move at all. The value is solid, and it keeps the safety position competitive. Day 1 of free agency, not big spenders, but smart moves. That wraps up day 1 of free agency. There were some losses, but overall, it's about playing the long game. The Raiders didn't go all in on day 1, and honestly, that's smart. Free agency always starts with a first wave, where teams throw big money at top players, sometimes overpaying. Avoiding that trap could pay off later. But now, the real question is, what's next? Will the Raiders focus on depth? Or will they make a big splash with a star signing? The next few days will tell us a lot about their strategy. Geno Smith's contract situation. The Raiders addressed the quarterback position early, bringing in Geno Smith before free agency even started. But here's what we still don't know, the contract details of his extension. Looking at the QB market, it's worth keeping an eye on how much the Raiders pay him. For example, Sam Darnold just signed a 3-year, $110 million deal with the Seahawks, about $37 million per year. Reports suggest Geno's extension could be in the range of $40 to $45 million per season. Now, that's risky. Darnold is younger and coming off a better season. If the Raiders overpay for Geno, it could hurt them long-term, so let's see how they handle it. Final thoughts. What's next for the Raiders? Now, Raider Nation, I want to hear from you. How do you feel about day 1 of free agency? Were the departures of Spain, Nate Hobbs, and Trayvon Moehrig major losses? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love Raiders content, Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That's all for today. I'll see you in the next one.